What is up, guys? Today we're going to be comparing the LG V50 to the V40. So you can pick the V40 up for as low as 200 bucks, and you can pick the V50 up on eBay for as low as 300 to 275. So as you can see, about $100 difference. Now, starting with the design, both these phones are glass and metal, and they both still feel very premium. They both pretty much have the same design, besides some minor differences. With the V50, you have a flat camera design like on the G8. So as you can see on the V40, you kind of have a little camera bump on here, so that's one thing that's different. And you also have the lighting 5G logo on the V50 as well. Both of these phones are still IP68 dust and water resistant, which is something that I love. So for the display, you have a 6.4-inch display on both of these guys, and it's a 1440p display, and they both still look the same. There's not a huge difference. They're both POLED displays, great colors, same thickness with the bezels, the same notch. It's pretty much the same display, so no real upgrade here. Now, as far as the software, the V50 is already running Android 10 on the Sprint version, and the V40 will get Android 10 later in 2020. So, it does have it now. So if you want this phone because of Android 10, that might be a reason. But honestly, the V40 should get it by the end of the year. So one of the things I just love about Android 10 is obviously the dark mode. But with the LG skin that they have on here, they really cleaned up these settings. As you can see, it's just much more simple to be able to get to everything. So that's one of the main things I love about Android 10 on this phone, and it's super snappy. So another big difference is the Snapdragon 855. So you do have that on there, but honestly, the V40 has the 845. You're not going to see a huge difference when it comes to gaming. You still will be able to play games on high, and the V40 is still really snappy. So as far as these 855, if you're a spec geek or whatever, you might just want that 855, and I completely understand. But if you're into gaming and stuff and you're on a strict budget, you really might not need the V50 at all, because it's still going to be a super solid performer when it comes to gaming. Now, you get 6 gigs of RAM on both of these models, and RAM management is pretty good. Multitasking is fine on both, but you do get 64 gigs on the base model with the V40, and you get 128 gigs with the base model on the V50. So you do get more storage, but they both have micro SD support, so they both have expandable storage. So that's not a huge deal, but you do get more storage on the V50. Another minor difference is the speakers. So the speakers are definitely improved on the V50. So they added a dual speaker. It's just a little tiny speaker at the top, which is better than nothing. So I always like when companies do that. Just add, make the front grille a speaker. So that's really nice to have. So it does sound more on par with the G7 now. So the speaker quality is really good on the V50, and the V40 speakers aren't terrible, but they definitely don't get as loud as the V50, and the clarity is just not as good. So definitely an upgrade in the speaker department. Alright, so both of these phones have NFC for your mobile payments, and you also have the quad DAC, of course, on both. So high quality audio files are really great. You have the 3.5mm jack on both of these guys. So when it comes to that, the speakers on here are just better, but as far as the audio experience, it's going to be the same, because you have still the quad DAC, the 3D surround sound, all the equalization settings. So you're not going to be missing out on anything with the V40. The fingerprint scanner on the back of these guys are pretty much the same. They're both snappy, so no difference. I didn't notice any speed difference with that. So let's talk about the camera. So you have the same camera setup: a 12 megapixel standard, a 12 megapixel telephoto, and a 16 megapixel ultra wide. Shoots in 4K 30 or 60 FPS. And you have the dual camera setup at 8 megapixel standard and a 5 megapixel wide for those group selfies. You're not going to notice a huge difference. When I took these shots outside, one thing I noticed is that the V40 seemed to be more color accurate, but the V50 was sharper. When you zoom into text, it was able to capture more detail, but it wasn't as color accurate. It made everything a little bit more greener than it actually was. Just made colors a little bit more vibrant and not so much lifelike. So that is one thing that I noticed, but you're not going to see a huge difference. As you can see, it's not huge a huge difference when it comes to camera quality. So I wouldn't necessarily upgrade from the cameras to the V50 unless you have like a V30 or something like that. You're not going to see a huge difference here. Now the V40 has a 3300 milliamp battery, 18 watt fast charging, and 10 watt wireless charging. Now you still have that on the V50, but you have a 4000 milliamp battery, and the battery life is definitely improved on the V50 here. That was one of my main complaints with the V40. So you get excellent battery life here with this. So I'm looking at around 8 hours of screen on time, and I was getting about 6 hours and 30 minutes of screen on time on the V40. So that's a really good battery upgrade. This phone definitely lasts all day, no problem. So I was really liking that. So as you can see, not a huge difference from the V40 to the V50. 5G I wasn't able to test because I don't live in a 5G area, but that might be a reason why you might want to pick up the V50 over the V40. So guys, that's pretty much it. I like that LG pretty much fixed a lot of the small stuff. There's not a huge camera upgrade on here, but the speakers are better and you do have better battery life. So that was were like two big things for me. So the V50 is super solid, but if you're on a budget, you'll be fine with the V40. You could just spend the $200 and still have a great flagship phone. But if you want, a little extra, then go with the V50. It's still a super good buy. So thanks for watching this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.